The House Labor and Industry Committee recently passed 6 pieces of prevailing wage legislation to the full House for consideration. Committee Chairman, State Representative Ron Miller from the 93rd Legislative District is here to discuss the bills and the outlook for them. Representative, hearings were held on these bills in August, and some might feel that the hearings are oftentimes symbolic, the outcome's already known. You actually pulled your prevailing wage bill because of what happened in the hearings. Why?
Well, and first of all, to address whether they're symbolic or not, we learned a lot of valuable information in the hearings. And part of my bill, which would address the way that we determine what prevailing wage is, how it is set, the testimony was such that we realized that there were some valid points that were made. We're working on an amendment to fix that bill. We're getting input from many of the various parties that have interest in prevailing wage issues. But it was obvious that something needed to be done with that bill. That's the beauty of having hearings on legislation. Sometimes it helps to vet the issues, clear some misconceptions, and address issues before we move them from committee into the full House for consideration. It might help to cut down on the amendment process a little bit.
This is a very contentious issue, and to this point, you and Democrat Chairman Bill Keller have been really civil on this, even though you are definitely at opposite ends of the spectrum, are you not?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We were raised in different parts of the states, big city versus rural, Republican versus Democrat, very strong union movement in Philadelphia. I'm from an area that doesn't have a strong union movement, but Bill's a great guy. And we can work together on issues. We can disagree totally on the issue, but work towards a product that might be acceptable to the majority of the members. So it has been enjoyable working with Representative Keller.
You've said a number of times that these bills will allow us to stretch the taxpayer dollar and get a lot more infrastructure projects done, roads, bridges, schools. There was testimony that challenged that, saying the work product will suffer. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think there's enough studies out there. For example, in Ohio in 1997, they decided to allow school districts to opt in or opt out of paying prevailing wage for a 5-year period. At the end of that 5-year period, they did a study about cost savings and also the quality of the construction. And basically, they said that it saved about 10.7% of the overall cost of school construction, which is in the range of what we have heard in testimony from various people, about 10% to 15% of the total cost of the project. But also they found that there was absolutely no reported or very minor, like 98% of the projects reported that there was no loss in quality, and they were quite satisfied with the quality of the project. So it sounds great. The counter-argument there is to believe that unless you are trained by a union, you don't have quality workers. I'm not minimizing the trades and the training that some unions do. I've visited some of their facilities, and it can be quite good. But we also have non-union contractors that train employees, and those employees are every bit as good. So it's not a quality issue.
Finally, the day that these bills, or the days that these bills get to the floor, will be long days, no doubt, because of the debate. And obviously it has to get through the House. I know you've talked to Senator Gordner, your counterpart in the Senate side. What are the chances that this gets through the 2 chambers and onto the governor's desk?
Well, you know what the 3 magic numbers are, and I believe it'll come up in the House first. And there's 3 key points that we need to address. We moved 6 bills. But absolutely, we have to raise the threshold. It hasn't been raised since prevailing wage law was enacted. 25,000 is a terribly low number, not fair to the Pennsylvania taxpayer. We need to look at the maintenance issue so that we are not spending more of our small boroughs, municipalities, townships can't afford to do maintenance under prevailing wage. And we need to look at job descriptions because of the fact they vary so much across the state, and it needs to be standardized. Anything above that would be helpful, but those 3 at a minimum have to be done.
If you have questions about this or any other legislative topic, we'll show you how to get in touch with Representative Miller in a few seconds. I'm Scott Little. Thanks for spending 5 minutes with State Representative Ron Miller.